Hey guys, so if you already saw in the thumbnail, there's a superconductor top C right here. Yesterday I filmed the unboxing and first impression video, but I had some issues with it right out of the package, and we're gonna get to that in this video. But since I've already done the unboxing, I'm not gonna do like a fake unboxing. So we're just gonna talk about this top C and all of my other top C's. Sorry, I was getting out the additional pieces and accessories that came with this superconductor one, just so I can have those out to mention. All right, there we go. You can see there's a conventional stainless steel plate. It's got the dimples all the way up through it. Okay, so that's pretty much all I need from there. I got this from playforbeans.com, from Mark Chang. It's fast shipping, came with UPS. Here's my zirconium top C. I got this from Osman at Daily Dose of Fidgets. Let's see, we got my Makume top C. Traded for this one. Got it from Janet. Janet, I'm still in awe. Thank you. We're gonna get you your fuse. I promise. We're gonna go get it. All right. Let's see. Let's put these in order of acquisition. Let me unpack the rest of my stuff. I was out on a walk and just had the idea that this is how this video is gonna go, and so typical fashion for me, no planning and just kind of getting right to it. Had both wraps with me. If you've been keeping up with me on Facebook, you know that's how I've been rolling. Got my Flux from Spin Designs by Cami. This is a titanium body, tungsten balls, and some, I guess, unreleased copper buttons. I guess that's what we're gonna call them here. And got my tungsten edamame with Makume buttons. Pretty much, this has been the setup. Minus the superconductor. I've been carrying these two, and then everything else you just saw me pull out of the case. Pretty much anywhere I go. All right, let's cover up that glare with the case. Kind of cheating a little bit. Get this off to the side. Pull this down. I don't need any of this stuff. Let's get that out of the way. And then I've got 3 other top C's. I got my zirconium spark. This is the first one I ever got. Second one I ever got. This is all brass. This is an older one. This one stays in my wife's collection. She absolutely loves this thing. Out of all our top C's, that's her favorite. And then I've got this Cooper nickel one. So yeah, there's 6 of them now. And I love them all. The only other kind I have tried, I think, was the PEI Ultim version, the yellow plastic. I bought that one on the pre-release sign-up sale, whatever you want to call it, and enjoyed it for a little bit, but then ended up deciding it wasn't for me. So yeah, I've tried 7 top C's. They're incredible. They're, as far as it goes for me, they're probably number 2 fidgets, with the wrapped being number 1. If I could only have one, it's gonna be the wrapped. Well, that was weird. Because the wrapped is just, it's a tank and it does everything so well. I don't really play with the Sphera in my left hand much. That's funky. All right, anyways, back to the top C's. Yeah, I really like the top C. So I think what I'm gonna do here is talk about these backwards. Let's talk about the top C, since that's what the thumbnail is, and that's probably why you're here, and since there's not gonna be an unboxing and first impressions video. This is day 2 after spending about, I'm not kidding you, 5 hours with my accessory kits. I've got tons of different balls, materials, and sizes, and all of the different springs and spacers and springs, and it's a lot of stuff. And so you've got what feels like infinite combinations. It's more than I care to calculate. Between the 3 bearing holes, the perimeter balls, springs, spacers, yeah, it's pretty nuts. So I spent a long time trying to get this to function properly. When I first took it out of the package, I got a couple rotations with it, and I was like, okay, cool. This is like probably the best feeling top C I've ever used. But that was literally like 10 seconds. And then I opened it up, because I was like, oh, let me see what's in here. And we had stainless steel balls, like it still has, all the way around the perimeter, I like. And then we had 3 short tapered springs. I know there's 4 in here, but I accidentally put one of the longer ones in. Or no, we had 3 of the longer tapered springs. I've got a short tapered spring in there on accident, that's right. And then 3 of the, I guess they're like Teflon or nylon balls. I'm not sure which one there actually are, but it's definitely a harder plastic. And it felt great. So I just wanted to swap in a single 1/8 inch ball, which is every single top C I've ever used. You can put an 1/8 inch ball in it tightens up the action. Metal Toys even says that themselves, you know. Put it in, and then I go to start screwing my plate back on, and it's having like, it's got issues. It won't go down all the way. Like I'm like slipping with it. There's a giant gap between the plates. You can see a little bit of rock. We'll get into that in a minute. So I had some tape and I was using leather and I was trying to get it to screw down and I couldn't get it to screw down all the way. So I wasn't forcing it. I was just being as easy with it as I have with any other top C. You know, no forcing of screws or anything, and nothing is stripped, nothing's messed up anymore. It's just like maybe the threads were a little tight at the end of the bore, so maybe they weren't fully threaded and tapped. And it was enough to where the play right here was making the superconductor disc that is spinning right now and the bottom disc, they were contacting under my finger. So I could literally feel the 2 superconductor surfaces sliding together, and it felt terrible. It did not function smoothly. And it probably was doing this before I even opened it up, but I really only used it so quickly and then took it apart. So I guess that's a little bit on me for not verifying that the function was good before I opened it, but it felt okay. But I don't see how me taking it apart and then putting it back together could make it rub on the sides, if you know what I'm saying. So anyways, hit up customer service and I let them know the issues, but then I don't know, I had a day where I was resting yesterday. That's what we'll call it. I really struggle with resting and trying to heal up. My Crohn's is flaring right now, so I'm not able to work and be productive like I would like to be. So while I was sitting around and healing, oh god, it's hard to say, I was fiddling with this thing, and I literally messed with it for 5 straight hours, maybe longer than that, honestly. And I messed with different tunes. I measured all of the balls that I have, all of the 2.5 millimeter balls. I found a variance of 0.04 millimeters. That was the maximum variance. The standard variance was about 0.02 of a millimeter. So I found all of the largest ones that I could. So that creates the most stacking height between the 2 discs. So this can't wobble as much on the pivot. Because what seems to be the issue is that this screw either doesn't screw in quite far enough, or this screw is longer than all of these other ones. Because what I did is I swapped this plate on and this screw on to this body, and it felt just fine. I swapped this plate and this screw onto this golden body, had the exact same amount of play and wobble. So that led me to believe that it's just here. So I tried swapping the little pivot bearings. That didn't make a difference. Those are standard across all these. And then I tried just swapping the top plate and one screw. So this screw on the back and this top plate. And that was about a 50% improvement, I would say. So it leads me to believe that this screw is just longer, and then maybe there's a little bit of extra gap here. And I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional. There is supposed to be a very unique feeling about this coin, like since it's a new release and whatever, so it's kind of hard to say that it maybe should be compared to the other top Cs. But the simple fact that it would lean enough that I was contacting surfaces, superconductor to superconductor, not the Zerk plate on the inside hitting superconductor. You can literally see the gap, like right there on my fingernail. You could see it close and you could see it scraping. Now it's not doing that. I don't know if it's able to just tighten down enough, or if it's that I just put all of the balls that are exactly 2.52 millimeters all the way around the edge. I'm not sure. I messed with so many tunes and I started seeing that it was like working. So then when I got it to where it wasn't feeling like it was rubbing or scraping anymore, I moved on to tuning the balls and the springs. And that's definitely my favorite part, because you kind of know what you're going to get, but sometimes you're really surprised, pleasantly surprised or unpleasantly surprised by what you think a setup is going to do. I actually really like this top C in a slightly softer configuration, and also using the brass cups, which is kind of strange because I usually like harder configurations with the brass cups because it has this springy resistance between clicks. But this one has that same springy resistance, but it's a little bit softer to use. So all that being said and all that time spent with it, I'm happy with it. I couldn't have done that on video, like there's just no way. So I'm a little bummed that I don't have my initial impressions, because I was like, oh man, the finish is great and the tolerances look really good and the pattern is centered really nicely. Like, and I thought it was beautiful, and I still do think it's beautiful, but you know, that first impression is just, that's a little more powerful, right? Like you can kind of feel it with me. That initial excitement and those happy chemicals have faded. I haven't tried the conventional plate. One, because I don't really like the conventional plate all that much. I've only got it in this one, and that's only because I don't have an additional ZZ plate. And also, I don't think these stainless dimples would look anywhere near as good as those blackened zirconium ones. Probably wouldn't sound as good either. I really like the sound of this zirconium plate. So, here's the top C. I think I'm going to start transitioning to talking about other top Cs now. Maybe let me open this, and I'm gonna just briefly go over how it's set up on the inside. See, this one is a little tougher to take apart sometimes still. I will say that. We've got 2.5 millimeter stainless steel balls on the outside, all ceramic balls here. There are the shortest brown springs. They're kind of a brown color. That's how I'm going to describe them. Those are also the softest springs in my opinion, with brass cups and 3 millimeter balls on this one and this one here at the bottom. This one up here is on I actually don't remember. That is also on a short brown spring, no spacer, and a 1/8 inch ball. This is, I think I've tried every combination that is within the resistance like range I'm looking for on this one. I didn't enjoy it when it was too stiff. Okay, is this literally happening again on video? Hang on. I'm slipping, it feels like. Yeah, see, it can be hard to get back together sometimes. Look how much it's rocking now. It's not all the way together. What is this? No freaking way. I haven't opened it since yesterday, and I just opened it a second ago, but... Okay, that feels normal again. Man, I was like, it just didn't quite... It's not quite tightening down all the way for some reason. Wipe my hand again. Said I was going to get on to the other top C's, and then here we go. I can't help myself. Okay, yep, that feels good. So it's just a little softer. I don't know if you can see it kind of springing, and there's the resistance, and then it jumps forward. And it's great. I got it tuned great. I just wish I knew what was up with that reassembly aspect. Like, maybe it's just the fact that we got some slippery parts and I got sweaty hands. Like, I don't know. I don't have that issue with any of these other ones, though. Even these super polished ones. So, let's dive in. Okay. One more time. Comes apart. No problem. Everything looks okay. Good there. And I like to look at the little frowny face on the back, put my thumb where I know I'm holding it in an orientation where it was, turn it 180 degrees, and see if I ended up 180 degrees. Like, surely that's how you know it's tight, right? So there we go. There's a little bit of rock. That actually feels even better than it was. See, something's just a little funky, but I'm honestly still happy enough with it. When it's attuned together, I don't open these things enough to need to worry about it. So I think that's enough harping on this thing and trying to figure it out, and enough disclosure about what's happened with it. I would recommend it. Just understand it's a little weird for me on mine, opening it up and putting it back together. On to my next most recent acquisition. This blasted Zert Top C that I got back from Osman. We'll say that. This one has stainless steel balls, and then this ball, wait, this ball, it's actually set up almost exactly like this one. But for some reason, this one has a significantly lighter feel, and this one has a stiffer feel. So it's got the short brown springs and brass spacers on these two here. And then on this one, there's an 1/8 inch ball and one of the short springs. I'm gonna verify which short spring it is. Yep. Is this a short tapered spring? It is, okay. Short tapered spring on 1/8 inch ball. So they're a little different. The tapered springs, even on the big end, like this one set up, I found are just a little bit stiffer than the short brown springs. So I don't know if you can see the difference maybe, but this one is a little more jumpy between positions, and it takes more resistance to use, but since it has more grip with the finish that it has, even when my hands are sweaty right now, maybe you can see the sweat trails getting left behind. I was getting nervous with that thing, I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, this cannot be happening on video. Because I tried messing with this one on video, and it got to where it was like 15 minutes long, and I was like, okay, this isn't working, I gotta stop. It was about to happen again. I was like thinking everything I've done for the last 15 minutes was gonna be a wreck. Jesus Christ. So this thing is definitely my stiffest one, probably my loudest one, and the one with the most unique feedback. Like it's jumpy. I don't know how to describe it beyond that. This one I got from Big White EDC. This is the Cooper nickel. I've got it set up with all tapered springs, short tapered springs, and all glass balls. So this is all clear. It's got a conventional plate, and I have it set up with all the softest springs, or the shortest tapered springs with the balls sitting on the big ends, because it takes less resistance to make it through the, there's more resistance on the conventional plates because the pockets are deeper. So if you have the same magnets that you have in a ZZ setup, it often, or magnets, springs and balls that you have in a ZZ setup, it's often much too stiff when you go back to a conventional plate. So this one's set up pretty soft. I honestly wish it was a little softer. I had to steal, I think it was like 2 soft brown springs for this one to make it as soft as I wanted with the brass cups. The brass cups add a lot of resistance, so you really need a soft spring to make those work. So I mean, this one's cool. The all glass and Cooper nickel definitely keeps it a little bit quieter, but it also has haptics. It's a strange feeling. It's on the heavier side. That's actually something I haven't even done myself here. I haven't weighed these Top Cs. Let's scoot this up to the top. I was thinking about that yesterday. I didn't weigh this one on video. So let's see. 32.8. 33, interesting, a little heavier. Oh yeah, and the 1/8 inch ball that was in this, you know, at the top right corner, if you're looking at the Top C logo, if you go back, that's a 1/8 inch, yeah. And it's tungsten carbide, not stainless steel, like every other ball that's in this thing. The perimeter balls, 2.5 millimeter balls, are stainless steel, and the balls that are on the brass spacers with short springs are stainless steel 3 millimeter. I didn't have any 1/8 inch stainless balls, and I figured tungsten carbide might add something unique, and I think it did. It made it a little bit louder. And that's what I was going for on this one. Okay, back to this. We're in that 33, so that's up there at 37. Yeah, I thought this one was heavier. That's why I wanted to pull that out. So with the glass balls, that definitely lightens it up. It might actually be kind of cool to move all to tungsten carbide. I haven't thought about that. But I like how quiet and soft it is and smooth it is with the all glass. I was actually asking my wife what she thought about this one, since we kind of have a collection going on. She's like, I don't see the point in selling it. Like, that's what I was asking, if we should get rid of it, since it was kind of our least favorite. But she's like, we really like these things. Like, there's not really any other ones that we collect all the different ones, and they're all so different. And guys, they really are. Like, each one has its own unique personality and character in the clicks and the rotation and the feel. Dang, so this one's still the heaviest. Like, right, am I not just forgetting numbers? Yeah, the Makume is the heaviest. I guess it does kind of feel it, or is brass heavier? No. Okay, yeah, the Makume's heavier. It's got the copper in there. That makes sense. So, yep, all glass here. All soft on the tapered springs, open side, short tapered springs. Got the mirror polish. It's pretty grippy. Amazing finish. And it's been very, very slowly developing a patina over this super silver Cooper nickel. It's just starting to turn a little bit like yellow olive colored. It's hard to describe and probably really hard to see on camera, but I can't wait to see how this thing looks in like a couple years even. I think it might look really cool. I'm never going to polish it or anything like that. It's just going to do what it's going to do. To the Makume. This one is set up with all ceramic. Let's go ahead and open it up. Oh. Come on. There we go. So it's all ceramic. And I've got a 1/8 inch ball. Let me look and see here. I think I have two 1/8 inch balls and a 3mm ball. And variations of tapered springs flipped either way. And I'm sorry, I really don't want to open it up all the way, because I don't want to mismatch what is going on with the tapered springs and accidentally flip one and have to figure out what that is back on camera. But it is all ceramic, and it is all the shorter tapered springs, I can tell you that much. This one's got like a bouncy kind of feel. It's definitely got good haptics still. It can be pretty quiet. Like, I actually use this one when we're watching shows. Me and my wife are watching shows together. I'm not like a big show watcher. I like to watch YouTube. She hates YouTube. But if we're watching something together, this is one that almost always makes it onto the tray in front of me. Because it's not that loud and it's not intrusive, but it still gives me good haptics. The best thing I can compare this one to is like a certain style jacket zipper. Sound and feel even. Like, these don't have a zipper feel. Like, there's more going on. There's a bounce and a resistance and you feel the spring like really fighting you and releasing. Like, I know I'm doing these weird hand motions, but like you feel it. This one, it's just smooth into the next click. So it's just like you're feeling things kind of click together. It's not like there's this pushback or anything like that. It's just, it feels the same no matter what. It's like these have like a ramping force. So it's like it takes more and more pressure until you get to the click, and then it dumps all the pressure and releases it, and then you've got a little bit of play. This one, it's like you're building pressure kind of rapidly, and then it drops off rapidly, and there's not hardly any play in between. So I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, that's the best way I can probably put it into some words. I still need this out. I just saw it turn off. So yeah, it's medium resistance. I would say this one's still the stiffest. This one's pretty close there with it, still on the softer side. These are pretty much the same as far as force needed to use them. Maybe this one's a little stiffer, but they're really close. But I don't know if you can tell just how different they just sound so different. They're wildly different. The brass top C. This guy is an OG in the collection. We've had these two for... This one I've had over a year. This one has got to be getting really close to a year now. It's set up with all ceramic balls. All short brown springs. Man, I got this one tight. This probably hasn't been opened in a really... I actually opened it this morning, but before that, it hasn't been opened in a long time. It's got two 1/8 inch balls, one 3mm ball, and all short brown springs. This is definitely the softest to use of all the top C's we got. That's how my wife wants this one. But because it's got two 1/8 inch balls in it, it's very locked in. There's hardly, I don't know if there's any play. And it's still very easy to use and gives good clicks. Like I can even feel it vibrating in my forearm all the way down here. It's really nice. I do miss it sometimes because it's, I don't know. These are similar. This one just takes a little more force to use because they're both full ceramic and they both have combinations of 3mm and 1/8 inch balls. But yeah, this one's just a little stiffer and a little bouncier. This one's like a smoother feel and a little less bouncy. So it's, man, I really like it. And the texture on these, I don't know if you can tell, they're like more of a matte kind of sheen. If you got sweaty hands, definitely go for something like this. You can use these when you're sweaty. But if you have dry hands, I will say, these can be kind of slippery sometimes. If your hands are like super, super dry, or at least don't, you know, have any actual like moisture that you can wipe away that develops on them, the polished stuff is almost like it's like sticky even in your hand. Definitely can feel sticky. On to my first Top C love. This is the Spark collaboration with the D Rocket Designs or something. So that little logo is there. This one is set up with full ceramic balls also. So let's see, we got full ceramic here, glass here, mostly stainless with a tungsten carbide, and ceramic spring balls and stainless perimeter balls. So I mean, I've really got like a pretty widespread of feel here. This one has, I can't remember, I'm sorry, I don't want to open it up again. It's got either 1 or 2 1/8 inch balls, and of course 1 or 2 3mm balls, 1 brass spacer on 1 short spring, and then I think it has all of the shorter silver springs on the other balls. So that'll at least get you close if you want to do something similar. It's set up very similar to this one as far as the balls and springs, but with 1 less brass spacer. That's at least what I remember, and that's a lot of what it feels like. It has a little bit tighter feel, so maybe I do have 2 1/8 inch balls on the silver springs and then only 1 brass spacer, because the brass spacer is what gives that resistance and then the drop off in resistance. It allows this like kind of wiggle and spring build up and release, versus, I don't know, 1 or no brass spacers. You don't get that same like kind of load up and release feel. It's just like a sharper, crisp snap. And that's more of what this has, and it's kind of in between. It's a little bit harder to use than this one. The ones with the brass spacers, yeah, man, I'm all over the place, but it's just so hard to talk about all these different variations now that I'm got them all out here. The brass spacers, like, they just give you like a, it's still tight, but you can feel that you're pushing into a spring and you're loading it up, and then it clicks, and then all the resistance is gone. When you do this, you just kind of push and it moves to the next one. You don't have that load up, as much of a load up feel, and it just clicks to the next one a little more softly, I suppose. Even though it's just as dialed in, these are just like a, they don't have that load up resistance kind of feel. Even though this one's harder to use than this one feels like it has more like a longer load up between clicks, versus this one, the load up is shorter. It's so hard to translate, but man, I hope it's coming across to some of y'all that are making it in this far. So I don't know, this one's awesome. It's probably gonna stay just because it's the first. I like all the different styling on it. I love that it's black and gold. I do kind of wish it wasn't polished, and maybe that it was all black. It's something I've thought about doing myself a couple times, and that would be crazy. Get it tumbled and flame it black again. Custom Top C Spark, but I'm hesitant because I'm pretty sure these inlay pieces are glued in. There were some initial reports of people getting these last year out of the packaging and seeing glue like seeped out of the holes within the vacuum sealing. So it's like they glued it and then vacuum sealed it and didn't give it time to cure, and it like sucked the glue you know, out of its voids. So I don't want to exactly do that again. I don't want to glue them back in. So I've just left it as is. It's still my first one. I still really enjoy it, even though I probably don't carry it very much. The current carries are, I'm probably not going to carry this just because I've got these right now. This one stays in my wife's collection. This one's just kind of like, meh. I do carry it sometimes, but these are very unique to me. These are my 3 favorites of the 6. Makume is just lovely because it's Makume. I love the frowny faces. I love that it's a reminder that time is melting away. It can be quiet. It's got a good zippery feel. I like this one for when my hands are sweaty and I want good feedback and I don't have anybody around to bother with noises. And this one's kind of filling a gap somewhere in between them both. It's super exotic and super cool, and like these dimples on the edge, I haven't talked about that. They actually feel really nice to interact with and rotate with. And my neighbor's cutting grass. Oh well, maybe y'all won't hear that. Yeah, these little dimples feel really good to interact with. I like that about it a lot. I wish it was a little tighter on that screw, so maybe Metal Toys can help me out there and send me something to, maybe they got shorter screws or something. They've got the tolerances just a little off on this one or something. But what a ramble. I think I'm out of steam. My mouth's dry. I need to go get some water. I didn't bring any out here with me, so 31 minutes talking about Top Cs. If you made it this far, you're a trooper. You are very loved, appreciated. I promise. See you guys.